Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this video. It's me again, Teacher Kent. And today, we're already done with forces. Let's have a small review, okay, before we continue with the next topic. Okay, what is a force? A force is a push or a pull. A force is a push or a pull. Now, what is a push? It's when you move something away from your body, while a pull is when you bring something closer to your body. That is a push and a pull. And what else? Okay, friction, no, forces are usually divided into two things, balanced force and unbalanced force. If an object is moving, like a car is moving, that means that the force of the car is unbalanced because it is moving. However, if an object is not moving, that means it has a balanced force. So technically, all of the things that are in the world right now have some kind of force, like your chair, your laptop, even I, even you. All of us are applying some type of force. It just depends if it's balanced or unbalanced. Now, when a force is applied on an object, the object actually has what we call usually it has more than one or two. Okay, it has more than one or two or more forces applying onto it. Now, if the force that is applying onto it comes from the same or goes to the same direction, let's say I push a ball and the ball is already moving to that direction, what will happen? The ball will move faster. There will be more force going to that direction. And that more force is what we call the resultant force. It comes from the word result, okay? Resultant, result, that's it. What would happen if it comes to opposite forces? Like somebody is pulling one of your friends back and somebody is pulling another friend on the opposite direction. Then the one that is the stronger force will win. And that you need to subtract the two forces if they are in the opposite direction. However, if they are in the same direction, you just need to add them. That's it. Now, we're gonna go to something new. We're gonna go to the force that is the opposite of a normal force. And that is called friction. Okay, that is called friction. So I have a PowerPoint here and let's learn together. What is a friction? Friction. Yes, yes, yo. What is friction? Friction is a force between two surfaces that are sliding or trying to slide across one another. For example, when you try to push a toy car along the floor. When you force a toy car along the floor, you can say that that toy car, it's actually what we call sliding. It's actually sliding on the floor. However, if the toy car is sliding on the floor, shouldn't it never stop? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Why does a toy car stop when it is being sliding across a floor? It's because there is an opposite force on the toy car. And that is what we call friction. Okay, I hope you understand now what is friction. Let's continue. Friction always works in the direction opposite from the direction the object is moving or trying to move. It always slows down a moving object. Okay. Friction, it's the opposite of force. So if the force is going this way to the left, let me just make myself a little bit bigger so you can see. Okay, let's say the friction is going this way to the left. The force is going to the right. Okay, force is going to the right, to the left. If your force is to the left, the exact opposite. If you're going to the left, the friction will go to the right and vice versa. It will always try to slow down a moving object. And that is friction, class. It basically slows down a moving object. If that person is moving to that direction, to the right, the friction will move to the left. The amount of friction depends on the materials from, oh, what happened? Let me just make my face, okay, there. The amount of friction depends on the materials from which the two surfaces are made. What does this mean? It means that the friction, it depends on the surface. So the rougher the surface, the more friction is produced. For example, you would have to push a book harder to get it moving on a carpet than you would on a wooden floor. This is because there is friction between the carpet and the book than there is between the book and the wood. Okay. If an object is very rough, let's say, for example, let me find an object that is a bit rough. This object, when you see, can you see it? It's a bit rough. It's plastic, a rough plastic. It has more friction than, shall we say, this one, a plastic paper or a laminated paper. This has less friction because this is not very rough. In fact, this is very smooth. This one, this is rough. So it would depend actually on the type of surface the object has. That is why when people play football, the players, or no, the people in charge of the football field, they will usually cut down, okay? They will usually cut down. What will they cut down? Who are football players here? They will usually cut down the grass. They try to make the grass as even as possible. Why is that? That is to reduce the friction between the grass and the football or the soccer. Because if there are a lot of grass, the balls will not roll as far because some of the grass will cause more friction than the field that has equal grass. Okay, let's continue. Friction also produces heat. For example, if you rub your hands together quickly, they get warmer. Let's try that now. Okay, let's count to 15 and let's see if, oh no, 20. And let's see if our hands are warmer. Are you ready? Do it with Teacher Kent, okay? I will count to 20. Let's rub our hands and then we will touch our face. We will see if our hands are hotter than our face. Let's start. Rub it together. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I actually feel the hands getting hotter. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, 5 more, okay? 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now put it on your face. Can you feel a little heat? That is what is caused by friction. When we rub our hands together, we get the friction. In fact, friction actually, it produces heat, okay? So when you rub your hands together, the friction will cause your hands to be hot or warmer. Now, there are two types of friction, class. A useful friction and reducing friction, okay? Useful because we are using it or we found ways to use it, while reducing friction actually damages some things. And we will find out what is the difference between the two. Okay, friction can be a useful force because it prevents our shoes slipping on the pavement when we walk and stops cars' tires skidding on the road. Okay, what does this mean? Imagine that there is no friction. Do you think you can walk on a road or even on your house? No, you cannot. Why? Because the floor would be very slippery. When you try to step 1 foot, you will fall and slip. You try again with another foot, fall and slip. You try again with your hands, you will still slip. You cannot walk if there is no friction. How about cars? Cars, when you put on the brakes, it will stop, right? Imagine if the road has no friction or the brake has no friction. The car will not stop. The car will just continue moving until it might hit another car or worse, a person. That is when the force will stop because it will hit another object. So that is useful friction. We use it every day. We just don't know about it. How about reducing friction? What happened? Why am I? Okay. How about reducing friction? Ice causes very little friction, but this is why it is easy to slip over on an icy day. But this is a good thing for ice skaters and sledging. Now, reducing friction are areas that are hard to walk. Like for example, ice. Have you tried ice skating? If you have, you will know that it's very hard to walk on ice, even without wearing skates, because the ice has very little friction. So it reduces our ability to walk or try to move because the ice itself has no friction. If you want to try a world that has no friction, you try walking on ice. You go to other countries that have winter, or maybe you have somewhere here in Thailand that you can practice ice skating. You try walking there without the skates. It will be very, very hard. That's why skaters, skating or ice skating, it's actually a very hard sport because you need to control friction. And there is very little friction in ice. So that's it. That is the example of useful friction and reducing friction. Oh, one more thing. Sometimes we want to reduce friction. For example, moving parts inside a car engine are lubricated with oil to reduce friction between them. The oil holds the surfaces apart and can flow between them. The reduced friction means that there is less wear in the metal and less heat produced. If you notice your mom or your dad's car, they usually put in some oil every year. Why is that? So that the parts of the car will not get easily damaged. Remember, friction produces heat, and heat on metal, it destroys metal. And that's it for today. I hope you learned something new. Don't worry if you don't understand that much. We will study again next time. Goodbye.